In this video, we are going to be speaking with marketing agency insiders about how to retain clients through building trust in relationships, and stick around to the end for some really actionable advice on how to foster emotional intelligence in more technically minded team members. I am Matt, speaking to the marketing industry's top talent through the world-class growth agency Jump 450. Today, we are speaking with the Managing Director of Client Leadership, Michelle Rose, and Senior Growth Director, Mallory Saldanha. Ladies, here's the scenario that we're going to start with. You are onboarding a new client whose digital performance is terrible. There's a lot of pressure on their team. They are coming to you on the heels of being burned by several agencies already, and so they are arriving with a lot of distrust. Aside from building decks, showing your work, and overly communicating tasks and KPIs, how do you build trust in a relationship like this?
You want to go or you want me to?
I'm kind of excited to see what you say because I have like a
Okay,
whole
let's do
theory.
it. I like to set up one-on-ones with new clients. I think big groups are very intimidating and people don't really show them their true selves. They're trying to like peacock in front of people. And I feel like when I get people one-on-one, they are much more open. And then in those meetings, in the initial ones, I try to your point, be vulnerable and be like, this is who I am. This is why I'm here. And one of the things I like to say is like, my job is to make it so you don't lose your job. And I think at the end of the day, we forget that people are human. Like there's somebody on the other side of that computer, like at the end, they have a family or they have responsibilities or whatever it is they have on the other side that is their main life. Like to me, a job is a secondary. Like people are working for that other part. And so I explain to them like my job is to make sure you keep your job so you don't have to worry. At the end of the day, nobody wants to get fired. Everybody just wants to be able to live the life that they want. So I'm here to help them. And I think that kind of breaks down barriers in the sense of I'm here to help you live your life, whatever that looks like. And I think that people respond well to that.
I love it. Michelle, give me a similar tactic. When you're getting a new client like that, what's one of the first things you do to sort of start that relationship?
You know, what's so funny is that Mallory, I actually see exactly how you do, but I approach it in a different manner. I look at the main POC as who is this person? What is their job role? Who are they reporting to? And what do they need from us as an agency in order to make sure that their job looks good? So that's also kind of how I view it as well. But generally, when I get this new client who's had all these horrible agencies before, I generally like to approach the conversation of, okay, well, what went wrong in the past agency? What didn't you like from the past agency? What is your actual goal, like your internal goal outside of the agency? Because then that determines our goal as an agency as to how to promote their internal goals. Because even though we're here to drive performance, maybe that performance is simply there so that they can make it look great so that their retail business looks better for when stores fail and they need to promote it online. Maybe it's their boss really loves to see these decks every single Monday. And if we don't get it exactly right or say the right thing or communicate it properly to a high enough level C-suite person, they fail. So when I find out those little tidbits of what actually makes their job easy and how we can make their job a little bit easier, then I can find success in what we actually need to do as an agency to make sure that we keep them happy, keep their stakeholders happy, and just make sure that we're growing with them because we're going to crush it with performance anyway. It's more of the questions outside of that, of like, why outside of performance do you want to be with us? What did you hear about us? What did you not like about the past agency? And how can we build your trust essentially to make sure that you know that we aren't going to do these things that the past agency did, or we're going to do better and here's how.
Yeah, I think that I'd follow that same idea and the same idea of like every week when I meet with them, it's what kind of feedback are you getting from your boss? And how can we step in and fill that? Like you have, I'm sure, plenty of jobs on the backside. What kind of heat are you getting that we can take off of you?
Well, then I would throw this at both of you. Then how do you sort of manage that trust throughout the relationship? Mallory, you're saying that you meet with somebody one-on-one from the beginning. You try to you try to connect with them. It sounds like a little bit on a bit of a human level, and sort of the stakes of, look, I want to make your life easier. Michelle, you're looking for sort of a more central internal goal. How do you guys check in with that client over time to sort of ensure that that trust is growing and not diminishing?
For me, it's those weekly one-on-ones. So it's weekly touching point with them and making sure that things haven't changed.
Mallory, can you teach this? Is this something that can be taught, or is this something that you just?
I said I'm just naturally great.
Well, but I'm saying this is this is.
Yeah, I mean, I think yes and no. I think that there are people that are super great technically, and there is a role for them. Sort of like we were saying at the beginning, is that their different personalities have different strengths. I think some things can be taught, but some people are just not people, and that I'm not sure can be taught. But I think what can be taught is letting the situation lead itself. I don't even know if that's the right answer. But what I think can be taught is like how to look at clients differently and not as numbers. I don't know. I'm trying to think about it in my head. And
It's emotional intelligence. It's emotional intelligence. You can teach emotional intelligence. It's hard. It takes a lot of practice. Us as adults generally don't have a lot of emotional intelligence still, as we're still learning. But it's a combination of emotional intelligence and also just taking yourself out of your perspective and putting yourself into the perspective of your client, putting yourself in their shoes and feeling that anger or feeling that frustration or feeling that joy that they have when they're talking to you, and just thinking about it on an emotional level of like, what's the why behind this emotion? Is this something that I can address? Is this something that I can help guide in the right direction?
Michelle, let me give you another scenario. You got a new team member. They're super sharp, technically speaking, great operator. They do not have the people skills, and you do the first couple of meetings with the client and they're struggling with the people part of it. How do you teach that emotional intelligence to a really competent technical team member, and how do you do that in a remote setting?
So that's difficult. But actually, it boils down to storytelling. So I actually work one-on-one with my very technical, talented team members that might not have that emotional connection with their clients. And I actually make them tell me a story of the data that they have, and I have them do it multiple times. And I have them go up a higher level, a higher level, a higher level from people that know how to get into the Google platform, to people that know that Google is a platform, to people that know that Google's that thing that you search on. And I have them speak in different ways so that they can learn how to talk to people, how to tell that story, and then also the why behind how you're talking like that, because they need to know the why at different levels. And that why kind of illustrates and demonstrates what's important to them. And once they get that understanding of what's important to them, then I try and pair that with the emotional intelligence of, this is what is important to the client. This is the emotional part. Pair this, make sure you also care about this as well, and show that you care about this.
My question would be, do we need to teach everybody emotional intelligence? I mean, it comes back to the idea of like, everybody has a role. And if we're all the same, then I don't think that the company would work as well. Like, there are people that are super technical and better technical than I will ever be, but I need them because I'm not as technical as they are, and I think that that's important. And I think if we try to make people like us, then we lose the value that we bring as a company.
I don't think we're trying to make people like us. I think we're just trying to teach them what's important. But also, I think this goes back to, some of us like to be client facing, some of us don't like to be client facing. And people that want to be client facing, this is a skill you have to learn. If you're not interested in learning this skill, great. Let's find an area where you're not client facing and make sure that you can exceed and excel with the current talent that you do have. So it's a little bit of, if you want to exceed in this position, these are the skills that you need to have. if you're not interested in obtaining these skills, let's find a different direction for you.
Agreed.
Ladies, I appreciate all of your time and all of your words today. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Thanks, Matt. You just
Thanks,
make
Matt.
things so easy.
Appreciate you as always.
If you work in marketing and you are looking for the newest and most innovative tactics and strategies available, then subscribe to the channel. We've got new videos coming out every week from the industry's top performers. And if you are looking to explode your own digital growth, you can get in touch with Jump 450 in the link below in the description. That is www.jump450.com. Don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you next time.